Bitcoin just hit lows of $96,000 per coin. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions, and I told you, no, I'm not going to come in here and point the finger. So I want to talk about the good news and the bad news. Congratulations to all those that carried an MSTR short. A lot of you guys know a heavy focus I've had recently is shorting MSTR. Although Bitcoin has been increasing in value, a lot of you guys have seen hit highs of 109,000. MSTR has not. MSTR is still lagging behind. It's still down, I think, 40% from Friday's close from previous highs, just because Michael Saylor continues to dilute his investors as he borrows against those shares. But that's besides the point. So let's just get right to it. Is MSTR going to open up in the red? Yeah, Bitcoin's price is at 98,000 right now, and if it continues to hold below 100,000, I think on Friday's close, which was on the 31st, we were right around 104,000. So if it goes from 104 to 98 even, MSTR is bound to open at 315, maybe even sub $300 per share. That's great for those that are carrying a short over the weekend. But a lot of you guys know is I don't do that. I don't like to carry a short overnight because you can't manage your risk. I mean, fortunately, market direction is in your favor. I want to celebrate those that obviously, sure took the risk, and hopefully you do your part in taking profits. But again, I mean, this isn't really like anything new, right? So I like talking about the good news. I like talking about the bad news. The bad news, I guess, for BTC traders is that, okay, you're pulling on back. Is this like a end all be all? No, not really, because we're still holding above 90,000. There's been a really strong support here. There is no break of pattern. Bitcoin isn't crashing, but Bitcoin is pulling on back, and it tends to pull back to around 90,000. I don't even know if we'll hit that kind of lows. We've seen a lot of consolidation right around 98 to 96,000. So we'll see if we find support here and then begin to recover. The reason I'm sharing this is because if you see MSTR in the red, right at open, let's say that MSTR opens up at 310 per share, from $334 per share to 310 per share. I mean, you're going to be up a pretty decent amount, right? Anywhere from like 6 to 8%. That's an amazing return for a swing trade that you carried overnight. Direction was in your favor. And then if you see that Bitcoin is beginning to show signs of a support and then it's beginning to recover, I hope that again, right? Just like we talk crap on those MSTR bag holders that didn't lock in profits at these extremely overbought levels, it's not rocket science. If you look at previous patterns, MSTR has had a pretty consistent resistance zone, meaning that it struggles to hold based off of recent patterns above $400 per share. Again, not rocket science. It's just you look at previous patterns. Every time that it runs up, it gets rejected. It runs up, it gets rejected. But also, again, let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad. It has a very common support range of right around $300 per share. Now, this is strictly just on technicals. It's important to understand oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought. So you know when to take profits and you know when to cover. Or close out or enter the trade, depending if you're going short or going long. But the reason I'm sharing this is because, again, MicroStrategy is set to report earnings on the 5th of February. Although, again, it's looking really good because Bitcoin is selling off, and this could be a perfect recipe for disaster. I want to remind you, our job's not to be greedy. There's a reason that we take profits every single day. There's a reason that we don't carry those positions overnight, because there is an uncontrollable amount of risk. You have to understand that MSTR, you have to give it the respect that it has. I don't want to say deserves. MSTR is an incredibly relevant stock right now. It can be incredibly bullish if for some reason it reports better than expected earnings or its guidance is better than expected. I don't believe it will be, but it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think, right? It only matters what you can tolerate. And if you already see that, hey, MSTR is approaching a previous support range, it's about to report earnings, you've already made a ton of money shorting it from 400 all the way down to 300, maybe it's not the worst idea to either reduce your position size, take profits, just be mindful of, hey, it could completely begin to recover if it reports better than expected earnings or its guidance is better than expected. And I share this because, again, you guys know that I'm a bear. I have every reason to want to short the living life out of MicroStrategy. But we have to respect these levels. We have to respect the overbought levels and the oversold levels. They're levels for a reason, right? There's general support ranges, general resistance ranges. And I like talking my crap. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I always like being petty to our MSTR bag holders, but it does us no good if we don't do what they are doing and taking profits, right? Our job is to make our money, take profits, and bounce. That's all. It's not overcomplicated. And again, the beautiful thing about this is that if MSTR does end up going to lows of $300 per share, and then it begins to show signs of support and it begins to recover, we can buy into the dip and then ride this thing back up to $400 if Bitcoin begins to recover. But based off of the news that was announced on Friday and what got implemented yesterday on Saturday with Trump's tariffs for both Canada and Mexico, most of the market will most likely be red. Sentiment might be a little bit on the bearish side of things, but again, we do not know if this is going to be a short-term negative catalyst or a long-term negative catalyst. I'm not here to tell you what you should do. I'm just here to make you aware. Again, the whole focus is to not be greedy. If you see that conviction and market sentiment, it's going to blow right through that support and you think that we're going to continue to sell off, then again, you continue to carry that short at your own risk. But I always like talking about both sides, just like I like holding the MSTR bag holders accountable for not taking profits at $500 or at $400 because it's a common resistance range. I also want to make sure that we have a level-headed conversation with all of our people that are shorting MSTR as we approach a potential support range right around $300 per share. Our focus is simple. I don't care if you're going long. I don't care if you're going short. The focus is get in, get out, make your money, and bounce. That simple. And again, yes, it's not looking the best for Bitcoin as it continues to form lower highs, lower lows. We all know that Bitcoin's incredibly volatile. It can begin to recover on a dime, and it doesn't need any valid fundamental reason on why it's doing it. It just does it because it can. And again, it shouldn't be a surprise because this is a common support range, but so is 90,000. So we'll take it day by day. And that's really what I'm looking forward to this month with you guys, is to see if we can come in with the same game plan as we did last month in identifying what the market is doing in sense of direction. Is it bullish? Is it bearish for the day? Identifying an overbought or oversold reversal, getting in, getting out, making our money, and bouncing, closing out the trade, enjoying the rest of the day, and starting the next day fresh, waiting for another opportunity to present itself. So I'm really excited to kick off the week with you guys. Again, I just want to come on in here, remind you, a lot of people are messaging me about like, Ricky, Bitcoin is selling off, Bitcoin selling off. That's great, only for those that carried a short position overnight. I didn't. I don't. I've told you guys many times before, I don't choose to carry my shorts overnight because, yes, although I missed out on this opportunity, also, if all of a sudden Bitcoin begins to skyrocket, I don't expose myself to that kind of risk, right? And then I take inevitable losses because I can't manage my risk overnight because markets are closed. So again, you can't want all of the good, but then not tolerate any of the bad. And that's why I just choose to close out my shorts every single day and not carry them overnight. That's how I choose to trade. You don't have to. I just like to explain my why. So I hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. Again, I'd love to kick off the month of February with you guys. If you want to tune on in, it's the second link in the description down below. I'll be going live right at market open for about 30 minutes to an hour. And if you want to tune on in, second link in the description down below, and I'll see you there. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.